Am I the asshole for exposing my sister's fake cancer to our parents after she refused to come clean herself? I, 34F, just found out that my sister, 31F, who has been telling my whole family she has cancer for the last 8 months, has been lying. She shaved her head, said she was doing chemo, and had our parents move in to help her through treatment. I started to have doubt when, besides also staying out late relatively frequently, she would never let anyone attend appointments with her, and she clearly had way too much energy for someone going through aggressive chemotherapy. Last week, I ran into the office manager of my sister's oncologist at a coffee shop, small town. I casually mentioned my sister, and the office manager was confused. She had no idea who I was talking about. I did some digging through doctors and spoke to my sister about what I learned, and she broke down and spilled her guts. It turns out she fabricated the whole story because she was in over her head with debt and wasn't able to afford her apartment anymore. The cancer story got our parents to move in and she could then stop paying her bills. I was furious and told her that she had 24 hours to tell our parents the truth or I would. She asked me not to tell them because it would ruin her relationship with them. She did not tell them, so yesterday I took everything to our parents. Our parents are heartbroken. My sister is acting like I had no right to out her, and she didn't even say this to our parents. She was going to stage a miraculous recovery next month. She said I ruined her life, and that families should be trying to defend each other rather than expose each other. Not the asshole for telling them. But you were a tiny bit of an asshole for not demanding that she tell your parents immediately, like within 15 minutes of finding out. 24 hours is too long to be deceived into thinking your child is dying. Edited for clarity. Sue. The doctors just casually broke HIPAA for you so you could expose your sister? Of course the office manager acted like she had no idea who your sister was. That's how you normally act when someone's acting about one of your patients, since you can't acknowledge you know anything about their medical history at all. Not the asshole for making the sister come clean, but I don't buy this story at all. I need to stop coming to these subs. The fake stories are just getting much more obvious and much less entertaining. Info. What do you mean you did some digging through doctors? Also, per HIPAA, the office manager shouldn't be confirming nor denying whether someone is a patient where they work. I'm not buying it. Not the asshole. What the fuck did I just read? HIPAA applies to small towns too. I don't buy this. Am I the asshole for refusing to give a reward after 2 kids returned my opened mail with money inside? I'm 27F, but I am pretty petite and could easily pass for like a high schooler. So I am home alone at my parents' place dog sitting, and I get back from walking the dog, and as soon as I close the door and lock it, I hear the ring cam doorbell go off and knocking, and I can see through their Alexa that it's 2 kids. Probably middle school aged. They have a bike and scooter. I did not see them when I came back from the walk, so I don't know where they were waiting or where they even came from. They are just standing there, and so I'm thinking that they are trying to sell something or another, so I plan to just ignore them and focus on getting the dog resettled. Except now the dog is barking like crazy because she senses someone by the door, and I can hear the kids say, "I just saw her go inside." They then say, "We found something of yours and it has money inside." So they are knocking like crazy and even start kicking the door. I figure that I'll just speak to them through the ring bell, so I say, without opening the door, "Hi. Just leave it in the mailbox." I cannot open the door right now because my dog is not friendly, which is true, but also like, I have no idea if this is a scheme or if there's an adult in a car waiting for them, etc. My mind is going into all sorts of scenarios that could end horribly for me. After them standing there for like 5 minutes, I can see through the cam that they put it in the mailbox and walk slowly away on their bike, scooter. About 2 minutes later, one of the kids comes back and puts his hood on. Rings the doorbell and I can see him put his hood on, and I say, "What's up?" through the ring cam. And he says, "My friend wants a reward," and I say, "Thank you for bringing back the mail, but there is no reward. Please leave." And the kid just stands there demanding a reward. So I say, "I have your faces. If you try to threaten me, I will call the cops." The kid then says, "Call the cops, I don't care. I returned your money. If I ever find something for your house again, I'm not returning it." He then walks away before giving me the finger. I'm not looking to get these kids into any sort of trouble or anything because I think they were just being dumb fucks and they couldn't have been older than like 14-15s, but am I the asshole for not giving a reward? What they returned ended up being an opened envelope. Don't know how they got it, if it was already ripped, or if they opened it, from my aunt that had a $20 bill in it. My aunt is old school like that. I've had my fair share of finding misplaced items, wallets, and I've never once demanded or even expected a reward. My friend wanted me to post their faces on the Nextdoor app and blast them, but I don't know. So, am I the asshole? ETA. Because I see some comments about this. I didn't think the fact that he put his hoodie on made me feel unsafe. I didn't feel unsafe about the boys themselves. More annoyance because it was stressing the dog out. Although them standing there for a while made me think someone might have been coercing them to stay there until someone answered the door, but that might just be my anxiety. I was also extremely stressed about the reactive dog, and that played a big factor into me not wanting to open the door when I could accomplish what needed to be said. A thank you and leaving in the mailbox is fine, through the Ring doorbell. I also felt kinda weirded out when one boy came back and not the other. I mentioned my age and size because you'd be surprised at how people assume you are naive when you're A, young, and B, a woman, and C, know that you might be home alone. You don't get a reward for doing something that is illegal. Chances are they saw there was money in it. I'd report them to their parents and let them know I didn't like their attitude or tone, and perhaps they should let them know opening mail is illegal. I'd also make certain there was only $20 in there. Maybe she sent you $30 and they were looking to double their take. Not the asshole, and I could be wrong, but isn't opening someone else's mail illegal? Does your Ring camera pick up your mailbox, and does it record? Because if you have evidence of them going into your mailbox, that's a federal offense. You are not the asshole. Okay, so, not the asshole first off, but what I'm more so wondering is this. You said you were dog sitting at your parents' place, right? Which implies that you don't live there, right? And the mail that was returned was for you specifically? If you do not know these kids, and if you are not getting your mail delivered to your parents' house, why did they know it was for you? Either way, they were up to no good one way or another, and you did the right thing not rewarding them for doing something illegal in the first place. If you have a way of contacting someone about this, I do recommend that you do it. Naive much? It's not preposterous for a young woman to be apprehensive about opening a door. Her thought process was completely justified in today's culture. Not the asshole. Is your mailbox open access, as in no lock? If so, how does OP know they didn't take it out of the box and open it themselves in order to get a reward? At any rate, whether they found it on the ground or took it out of your box, demanding a reward is inappropriate. Children need to understand that one does the right thing because it's the right thing, not because of what's in it for themselves. Unfortunately, at least one of these kids has not been taught that. ETA. A person should never be criticized for staying safe, and in OP's view, it was not safe to open the door. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my wife's daughter move in after a past conflict with my son? For privacy, I'm using fake names here. I've been married to my wife, Laura, for about 2 years. We both have kids from previous relationships. I have a son, 20M, Jake, who's in college. Laura has a daughter, 22F, Emily, who just graduated and is currently job hunting. Last summer, Jake stayed with us for about 6 weeks between dorm leases. Emily was around a lot too, and honestly it was tense. They didn't really get along. No big fights or anything, just a lot of awkward silence and weird energy. Emily made a few comments about the house feeling crowded, and Jake mostly kept to himself. About a month in, Emily said she lost some cash and a pair of earbuds. She told Laura, who brought it to me. I confronted Jake about it. He got pretty upset, said he didn't take anything, and felt like he was being accused unfairly. Said it felt like he wasn't welcome. He ended up leaving early to stay with a friend. We barely talked for a while after that. A couple months later, Emily found the missing stuff in an old gym bag. Said it was probably just stress, a mistake. But she never actually apologized or took responsibility. No sorry, no real acknowledgement of what that put Jake through. I told Laura that it was messed up, and that Jake was hurt by it. She said she understood, but didn't want to push Emily. Now Emily wants to move in with us temporarily while she looks for work. Laura says it's fine and won't be for long. I said no. I don't trust the situation, and I don't want a repeat of last summer. Laura says I'm being harsh and holding a grudge. A few friends say I should let it go, that family is family, and I should try to move on. But I feel stuck between keeping the peace in my marriage and protecting my son. Jake hasn't said much about it, but I know he still feels weird about what happened. And Emily's never really owned up to it. Am I being unreasonable for saying no to her moving in? Or am I just trying to avoid another mess? About a month in, Emily said she lost some cash and a pair of earbuds. She told Laura, who brought it to me. I confronted Jake about it. Did Emily accuse Jake? Or did she just state these things had gone missing and you assumed that your son must have taken them? Because that's how this reads. If she didn't accuse him, and it was you who just assumed that's what she was implying, then you are the asshole for not allowing her to move back in. You are the asshole because of how you handled the OG accusation. I literally had a similar experience last night. My 16-year-old had 8 friends sleep over. I couldn't find my keys, which had a Supreme multi-tool on the keychain. I called my son over and privately told him I couldn't find them, didn't want to accuse anyone before he helped me look for them. We found them without falsely accusing anyone first. You are the asshole from what you wrote. It sounds like you're the problem, not Emily. Emily didn't accuse your son of stealing anything. You flew off the handle when your wife asked if you'd seen it and accused your own son. It sounds like the kids have a relationship typical of adult step-siblings who aren't close. You're the asshole. Why did you automatically accuse your son of the missing items? Emily did not cause the situation between your son and you did. You all need family therapy. Not to become one big happy family, but to learn how to treat each other with respect even if you may not like the other person. You're the asshole. But she never actually apologized or took responsibility. Because Emily didn't make the accusation, all she did was go to her mom and say, "I'm missing these items." You are the one who approached Jake and made the accusations. You are the one who should be apologizing to Jake. Also, you don't get to unilaterally tell your wife, "Your kid is not allowed to live here, but my kid can." That's not only playing favorites, but it's a real quick way to end your marriage. Info. You describe this as your wife and stepdaughter saying they lost something and you jumped straight to theft. Were they saying your son took them before you accused, or did you jump to that conclusion yourself? Did you even try to look before accusing your son? Did you ever try to defend him? Because it sounds like you attacked your son about this and expect someone else to apologize for what you did. We cannot judge this without this info and more clarity. Regardless, you're an asshole for accusing your son of theft without any evidence, on hearsay, and I'm assuming he had no history of it or you would have said. You can't be the victim and the antagonist here, dude. You're just being a bad dad. Am I the asshole for making a craft out of the boat oar that my nephews ruined in Walmart? My wife's sister is away, and her husband is caring for her 9 kids, his stepkids, alone until she gets out. The younger ones can get a little unruly, and 2 of the boys, 5 and 7, snuck off in Walmart, stood in a shopping cart and rode it around the store a bit with a wooden boat oar from Sporting Goods. Because the oar was damaged, brother-in-law purchased it, but he didn't know what to do with it and was just going to toss it in the trash. So, I asked him if I could make it into something he could display and he said sure. I had all the kids trace their hands and write their names and went over it with a wood-burning kit. Then I painted it with an antique look. Brother-in-law liked it and put it up in the dining room, but my wife's mother, who lives with him, said I rewarded the kids for behaving badly. Mother-in-law went off on a long rant about how badly behaved the younger kids are and said the oar should be thrown away to teach them a lesson. She also blamed my 15-year-old niece for not watching her brothers in the store since she had gone with them but was looking at hair stuff with her 5-year-old sister while the boys snuck off. Brother-in-law told her it wasn't the 15-year-old's fault and mother-in-law will have to find somewhere else to live if she keeps questioning his parenting choices. I was just trying to prevent waste and do something nice, but now I feel like I'm the asshole for starting this whole thing over a boat oar. Not the asshole. You sound like an amazing uncle. That craft is a very cute and creative way to get all of the kids involved in craft. I'm sure the 2 boys who broke the oar got disciplined separately, and the oar is not some glorification of their actions. What you did was take something bad and make it into something beautiful. The mother-in-law sounds awful, and her expecting the 15-year-old to look after the children is unreasonable. Instead of her complaining about parenting, she should try helping out and doing crafts like you do. She might discover it's actually nice to do something fun with children rather than just yell at them. By using it and then giving it to the parents, how JS that rewarding the kids? Rewarding the kids would be building a boat in the backyard and giving them the oar to play with in the boat. The kids don't care that it's hanging on a wall in the dining room. It could have just as easily been a, "Sorry we were naughty," gift to the parents. Mother-in-law needs to back off. Not the asshole, and what you did was very sweet. Not the asshole, you just taught them to make lemons out of lemonade. Yes, what they did was bad. I'm sure your brother-in-law scolded them and disciplined them for it. The mother can mind her own, you made them help make something beautiful out of a thing they destroyed. That sounds fantastic. And as a mom I'd be so proud of my brother for putting my boy's energy into something positive. I was just trying to prevent waste and do something nice, but now I feel like I'm the asshole for starting this whole thing over a boat oar. This thing has been going on long before the oar. The adults need to act like adults. Someone needs to remind mother-in-law that every time the boys and the family sees the oar they will be reminded of the incident. What they did will never be forgotten. Away? Gets out? Is she in jail or rehab? Unless mother-in-law is just another person to take care of, he should watch what he threatens her with or he'll end up with his 9 kids and stepkids by himself. If she's actively helping with cooking, cleaning, childcare and even finances, he needs to be a hell of a lot more polite to her because they're in this mess together. As for the oar, it was a lovely thing to do to get some use out of it. I doubt the kids see it as a reward. They can't play with it or eat it or spend. All they can do is look at it. Not the asshole.